Hey everybody, and welcome to a very special Nintendo News Report for Thursday, October 20th, 2016. I'm your host, Alexander Kalafi, joined by my same panel of Nintendo News Report regulars from last night to talk about the big hot story of today. That is the reveal of the Nintendo Switch. Yay!
I'm sorry. I thought we were talking about this Packer-Bears game.
The voice you just heard is one Zachary Miller from Alaska. Hello, Zachary Miller.
Well, howdy, Alex. How are you?
I'm doing pretty good. How are you, Zach?
I'm watching all these Bears get injured, so I'm pretty good too.
That's good. I'm also
okay.
Yeah.
Maybe I should have told you that it was on Twitter, dude. like I wasn't planning to comment on it unless like something ridiculous happened, not just like,
I'm
they're playing football.
I'm not actually watching it either.
The other voice you just heard, site director of NintendoWorldReport.com. That is one Neal Ronahan. Hello, Neal.
Hi. I'm gonna comment. If you were to have said the word Switch and Joy-Con to me a couple years ago, I would have been like, "Did you go to a sex toy party?"
Joy-Con sounds like the company that manufactures the chips for the Switch. And then the voice you haven't heard yet is one Donald Terrio from Canada. Hello, Donald.
Yo, this might be coming to the Switch now.
Oh, wait, because Danganronpa is Spike Chunsoft. Is that on the list?
Spike Chunsoft and NIS America.
That's excellent. So yeah, at 10 a.m. Eastern Time today, 7 a.m. Peastern Time, the Nintendo Switch was indeed revealed as the actual final name of the NX. What do we got here? We got March 2017, already knew that. It is the handheld console hybrid powered by NVIDIA. It's almost, in a lot of ways, it's basically everything people predicted, taking console-esque console games on the go. They showed Zelda as the main game, but they also showed other games. System has a tablet and a dock, Kindle Fire looking. It's got a screen that's several inches big. I would say slightly bigger than the Wii U. In fact, the controller with the tablet in it does look like a Wii U screen. And I would also note that the console itself, if you look at it from the side, actually makes the shape of a U, which makes me think this is basically the console. This is what
the Wii U was supposed to be.
Here's exactly.
I'm really surprised if this was like a prototype Wii U idea that they're like, nah, that wouldn't work.
No, the Wii U was a prototype Switch idea.
Yeah, maybe they couldn't. Maybe they didn't have the technology to do this in 2011.
This is imagine if Nintendo made the Virtual Boy, it failed as it did, and then after they actually finished the Virtual Boy that they were supposed to make in the first place, and then that was the successor to the Virtual Boy. Like you would think that this was like a wholly original, its own totally idea, which it is to a certain extent. But now that I've seen the video and I've seen the way they're selling this thing, this is just a realized version of the Wii U.
Yeah.
Right down to having an optional controller that's kind of like the Xbox 360 or Xbox One controller. Even now it has the offset analog sticks.
Yeah.
Yep.
They also showed the controller, the Joy-Con, which is, I would say, beats out the gamepad. Actually, no, it beats out Wara Wara Plaza as the weirdest Nintendo name so far in the modern era. It has detachable sides. It can go from a regular controller frame to the tablet. It can be used as mini Wii remotes or as a larger controller or potential other configurations. One of the big... Yes.
Alex, the detachable dongle controller, the video showed people using that as a standalone, like, NES controller. That thing is itty bitty. Nobody's going to do that for a long period of time.
I think I don't think people use it on NBA 2K17.
Probably not.
By the way, even though this is jumping ahead, I just have a very quick question. Do we know if that was NBA 2K or
it wasn't?
Okay.
If they had the credits right at the end of the video, which like when I got to the end of it, I noticed Bethesda right away, which answered my question about like, is that Skyrim?
That was Skyrim, obviously.
Yeah. I mean, like, it looked very obviously Skyrim, but I'm like, they've done this before where it's just like, the non-specific action figure crap where it was like, this is a game, it's not a game. But they like copyright Bethesda for that, and they just copyright the NBA for that basketball game.
For a moment there, I had a thought, oh god, that's NBA Live 2017, which would release in March anyway.
Yeah. Local multiplayer wherever you want is one of the selling points. It does take cartridges. The slot and what we've seen of the cartridges do actually look a lot like Vita cartridges for what it's worth. And then the other part of the trailer that I'm sure like Game Explain probably noticed in their hour-long analysis and like such and such and such and such. But one thing I noticed that I think they wanted to be a big selling point, but it's kind of like did and not focused on, is how seamless the transition is from the handheld to the console. Like it was showing, like they pick up the tablet and it's literally Mario's right there.
I'm waiting to see how accurate that is in the consumer product.
That does strike me as a thing that would like look better in that video, but like if that does, like in my head, and I have no technological background to back this up, it seems like it's like switching an input would be like what would happen. So like if you go on your TV and you switch an input, that's kind of what I expect will be when you go from the TV to the tablet.
Now, something I don't remember from the video, like when a guy would be playing Zelda on his TV at home, can he just pause it, go to the Switch console, pick the thing up, and all of a sudden it like seamlessly is right there?
I think that's the intention.
Yeah, I think that's the intention. I'm hoping that's what we get.
Yeah.
So we
discussed some kind of cross-save, crap.
Right. So that's most of what we saw. We'll talk about the games. As far as the console goes, especially since it's exactly what we thought it was, are you guys impressed with what we've seen?
The form factor is beautiful.
I'm impressed with the form factor. Also, and I would also say that the fact that they're actually going for the handheld console hybrid and doing it with what looks like no compromises, that's super impressive to me.
I'll be impressed once it's actually in my hands, just to see how it sort of feels when it's in that stuff on the side.
Yeah, battery life is
so
a big
important.
question.
And I think that battery life can't be garbage, and I have a feeling that battery life is going to be hot garbage.
What's the battery life in an NVIDIA?
The Shield?
Hours. I can look that up now. Alola Greninja mentioned, and they mentioned in the PR that taking it off the dock would transfer the game instantly. Nice. TRBR, simply changing what the display is. My question is the handheld disc slot the only slot that there is on the console? Is that what they're saying?
I mean, it did seem to resemble. There were 2 USB ports on like the dock.
Right.
I think one of the, if I had to guess, I'm gonna bet one is I think they said there'd be 3 total. I think the 2 that we saw were like USB 2 for accessories, like the Poke and Pad or the Skylanders portals, and then there's a USB 3 on the side that I think is intended for storage.
Oh, okay.
That would be my best guess based on the Eurogamer rumor that we had a few months back, which pretty much ended up getting confirmed today.
So does that imply that there's going to be backwards compatibility with Wii U?
Nope.
No.
Okay.
I doubt it unless it's like the console only.
I think,
which doesn't make sense. Because it would have to be eShop only games because there's no discs, yada yada yada.
Yeah. So
I think it's Nintendo would rather resell you the old games.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do we think there's a touch screen on this thing? I don't think so.
It seems like most of the buzz is that yes, there is a touchscreen.
Okay.
I was doing some research and trying to get some hard confirmations on the touchscreen and also like region free. It seems like both of those things are very likely that it will be region free and that there is a touchscreen. I also heard some things.
By the way,
I also heard 3 to 5 hours is kind of what I expect. Like I feel like if it doesn't hit 3 to 5 hours, then it's a total tire fire. 3 to 5 hours is acceptable, but not great.
Yeah,
it's enough that I'd probably want to have a USB charging option, plug it into my computer when I'm using a portable.
But as I was saying about the touchscreen, I think, and I've said this for a while, that like Nintendo needed to nail this initial reveal, which, in my opinion, I think they did.
Yeah.
I think there's still there's a long way to go to like if they're gonna successfully pull off this marketing plan.
This wasn't a decisive victory by any means.
It was like a really good opening drive.
Yeah.
The opposite of what the Packers did to start the third quarter.
Boom.
It was like a really good opening shot. But they need to follow through on it, and I think part of that was simplifying the message early on. They focused on specific aspects of the Switch. Like, if I think that there is a touchscreen, I will go on the record and say that I'm not 100% confident. I'd say like 90% confident that there's going to be a touchscreen on that thing. But I don't think Nintendo wants to focus on it being this plurality. They want to focus on, here is the key thing that you need to know.
Yeah.
That's it.
Matt Kelly says, "Hey, NWR, huh?"
No, I was just gonna say, in region free, I would say I'm also 80 to 90% confident that it's region free. I just haven't gotten that 100% confirmation. That makes me
and Nintendo isn't commenting on it. Although I'm wondering to what extent it's going to be region free. Like, can you buy a cart in Europe and it works? But say you can't access the European eShop without going through some hack like you have to on the Vita right now.
So Matthew Kelly says, "Hey NWR, does the Nintendo Switch, will it have Amiibo reader on the gamepad? We'll get an Amiibo reader adapter." I think NFC's built in.
Yeah,
it's built into the dock.
Actually, no, they haven't said what they just said that. I think IGN got it. And the comment was, if a Nintendo Switch game is going to support Amiibo, there will be the ability to scan them on the system or something like that.
Okay.
Yeah,
like, it would make sense that it's probably on the dock or the tablet or something.
Or on one of the Joy-Cons.
Yeah. Okay, let's see what else we got. Neal, I'm actually curious what you thought. So you thought they nailed the unveiling relatively?
Well, there's two things. One, I want to comment. Cool0210 said that Takashi Mochizuki, who's the dude from the Wall Street Journal that like started being a lot more active covering Nintendo the past year or two, at least on Twitter. He said that Nintendo made a comment of no more official announcement would come this year on game titles or spec details, including region lock status.
Nothing else for this year. So we
brutal.
Which I mean, I don't think that's kind of what you'd expect. Like, it's coming out in March. We'll probably get a trickle of like information from third parties. But they're probably going to focus on the games that they have coming out in November. They're not going to do anything during Christmas, and we'll get an event in January that will lay out price, launch date, launch lineup, etc.
So you think the big boom is in January? You think?
Yeah, I would probably bet money on that.
Okay,
they might still be
unless it
figuring
gets
things
delayed,
out.
which I don't think it's going to get delayed. But I think if it does get delayed, then everything's thrown out of the window. But if it's coming out in March, there will be an event in January that will then lay everything out.
Well, they might give some more details about their plans for it next week, because they have the earnings call, and Kimishima, I think, is talking to the press in Japan afterwards. So something might come out of that. But yeah, if they're saying nothing until the new year, then yeah, they got to get out in January to do a March launch like they did with that last Wii U event they had. The Wii U event.
The 3DS is almost a direct comparison because it also came out in March, and that was, I think, like mid-January. For Wii U, it was September before November.
Yeah.
Here's a good place to pose a couple questions here. The first of two I have. One, how powerful do you think this will be? I bet it's going to be slightly less powerful than the Xbox One. It'll be like, I think
on par with Xbox One. I mean, that's
on par
what I have
with
heard
Xbox
is
One on the
par
TV.
with Xbox One. Yeah,
on the TV. The handheld, I would say, a step above the Wii U gamepad resolution.
Yeah,
like technically HD.
Yeah, I think Xbox One. Xbox One comparable on the TV. I think gamepad, you're probably looking at slightly higher than the Vita, so probably like 720p on the handheld.
Yeah.
I mean, from what I've heard is that the way the TV and the handheld works is it's kind of like I guess going with the system kind of being a reverse Wii U, it's kind of like, and I think I said this yesterday when we were talking about this before we got the news, that it's like a reverse PS4 Pro situation.
Yeah.
Where like you'll have what's on the TV, and then the handheld when you take it out, when you take the tablet out, when you take your Switch out, then like maybe the frame rate will be a little worse, maybe the graphics will look a little worse. It's not going to be a large game-breaking difference, but there will be. I mean, you could see it in the video when they showed Zelda, like that Zelda on the Switch screen, like the frame rate was worse than when it was on the TV.
Yes, I noticed that too.
Like that was clear as day. But yeah, I mean, like, there's going to be, like, from what I've heard, developers kind of need to make two versions of a game, much like developers need to make two versions of a game for PS4 Pro going forward.
Yeah. That actually ties in slightly to the other thing that I was thinking about. And the one thing that actually seriously bothered me, like the actual thing that I focused on, I'm like, ooh, I hope that's better than it looks, is that huge bezel bothered me a little bit. And I'm wondering if it was a strategic move of every game has to be full screen, but this is as big as we can make the games appear on the Wii U, on the Switch, the Wii U too, the Switch. And I wonder if they just made the bezel that big in order to cover up that fact, or I wonder if it'll be if there's like technical hardware reasons that it has to be that way. Or what? It's just I looked at it and I'm like, that looks like letterboxing, even though it's not, and that bothers me. Think of that.
Yeah, I mean, I understand why bezels like that bother people. It doesn't bother me as much.
Do you think that it's the reason why it looked as bad as it did was because of the trailer, or do you think it'll look exactly like that in real life too? The fact that like the shade of black gray actually looked like a letterbox screen.
I mean, I think it'll definitely look better in person than it does in that video because you'll have like a clear shot of it. It's not going to be like that stylized ideal world where people are on rooftops playing 2-player Mario and people going in creepy vans playing Mario Kart to go kart racing.
Yeah. Okay.
But as we were saying before I took us on that weird tangent, my thoughts on the system, I have two brains. I've got Gamer Brain. Gamer Brain can't wait for this shit. Mm-hmm. Like, I already had a pretty good idea of what the system was, and seeing that trailer, I was just giddy. Like, I want that system in my life. I want to be able to have something that, like, I can play on my TV and just be like, oh, like, I'm going to work. I'm going to bring this with me to work or something, and then play it during lunch. Like, and it's Zelda, and it's Mario. And, like, that Mario game is the most excited I've been over 5 seconds of footage since the Zelda footage last year.
I was flashing.
And, like, I'm so excited for this system. I want to play it right now. I'm glad that we only have to wait like 5 months instead of the requisite like year or so for most other system reveals. Yeah. But then I have the other side of me, which is the analyst side. The analyst side has not been quelled. The analyst side has not been quelled. There's a lot of questions that need answering. Price is a huge factor with this. We harped on it last night. I still stand by. I think if this system comes out at over $299, it will flop hard.
Okay, how much is the Shield?
We need to.
Well, the Shield flopped too, so it better not cost as much as the Shield.
Yeah, okay. Yeah.
I think
the Shield is reasonably priced.
Oh, it was.
I think it was 300.
Okay,
but I think Nintendo. I think the costs are lower now, and
I think. Yeah, Devontae Adams touchdown.
Yeah. So,
but there's also a lot more shit that comes with the NX. What's it called now? The Switch.
The Switch.
Mm-hmm. And yeah, it makes me wonder if they were going to sell aspects of this thing separately,
like the handheld.
What do you mean?
Yeah.
Like the dongles.
In all honesty, that'd be really smart because it would make the cost go down.
Well, exactly.
You can hide that cost.
Exactly.
I mean, it didn't totally work with the Vita, but like, you can totally release this for $300 and just be like, oh yeah, like you also like need to buy a camera. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like the PS4, like the PSVR. That's what they did. It's $400 if you have all this other stuff already.
Mm.
I'm just thinking. This just came to me actually when Neal was talking about his gamer reaction to the system. I tried to review Xenoblade Chronicles X last year by playing it at work, and that went horribly. So now that this is going to be perfect for those long RPGs because I can literally, well, I work in an office right now, but I could have theoretically taken that thing to work and reviewed and played that game in full rather than dealing with Xenoblade X on the gamepad. Which
as dumb as it is, like with the Wii U, there was this expectation, like, oh, maybe I'll get a second plug, like a second AC adapter for it, like move it around with me. But then, like with external hard drives and everything, that just became so cumbersome to bother with that, like, I didn't think about that. But if there is going to be like external hard drives on the Switch, like, how would that work if you bring it with you?
The base system is probably going to have some sort of storage. Like they didn't really show. Yeah. They didn't show a micro SD card slot, but I mean, you can get suitable memory for that for like $20 now.
Yeah.
True. Maybe they'll do a super expensive proprietary memory card.
No.
I'm seeing talk about the price in the chat. There might be an estimate for the price. Nothing is set right now.
Right.
Yeah. I guarantee that. I mean, if we are talking about like what's the buzz been, I've heard from sources and analysts across the board anywhere from 250 to 400, 500. So I think what that translates to is people don't have any idea how much it's going to cost right now. Yeah. Like if the variability is like $200, like then we don't know. We won't really know until we know fully what's under the hood, and also like
they would be
I mean, which we don't know. We know Nvidia's making like the chipset and everything, but
Nvidia, if Nvidia wants a place at the table in the console space, they probably gave Nintendo a Godfather deal.
Yeah.
As a console maker coming off the heels of what many of us would describe as a failure of a console, I think any reasonable person would describe the Wii U, even if it's not the worst failure of all time, it is still probably a failure of a console. Coming off the heels of that, I think you would be insane to come up with a conclusive price for this before seeing what the initial reaction is.
Like I heard people talking about like they're going to have a price tomorrow. It's like no. Like we'll find out that price at that event in January.
And you think they'll do pre-orders 2 months early? That's how they'll do it?
Yeah, probably.
Good.
Yeah, okay. That's generally. I mean, that's what they've done. I mean, as someone who's been covering Nintendo for at this point more than 8 years and doing it like being way too deep in all of this, they are formulaic in some respects, and I'd say that lately they've gotten a little off formula, and I think a little bit that's been out of like being faced with failure, and part of it, I think how they fell into the routine was they were like, we're kicking everyone's ass, we're just gonna do the same shit all the time, follow this pattern, and they've had to break out of that pattern more. But I think something that really works for them is having an event 2 months before a system launches that lays out the price and the lineup, and like you invite third parties to be there, and like, I mean, like I would say as far as like outside of them revealing Nintendo TV at that pre-Wii U event, both that and the 3DS one were very good at selling and setting up what the system was going to be on day one, and even the first year.
Okay, let's move on to the games that we saw. We'll talk about in a second whether these are real or not. But the things we saw Zelda Breath of the Wild, new trailer out today that looks cool. We saw Skyrim, presumably Skyrim Remastered.
But then Bethesda later commented,
pulled it back.
Yeah, they were just like, we're not going to comment on what games we're having out. My guess with that is probably Skyrim. Skyrim was what they had to show for this video. And I think that Nintendo probably wanted to highlight, like, we have Bethesda on our side for once.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Because if that Skyrim remaster like comes out at launch, like you guys realize that the Skyrim remaster is coming out next week on every other console. Yeah. Bethesda probably was like, we can advertise the Skyrim remaster in this video.
Yeah.
and then like release another game on the Switch later on.
Right.
Do you think like
Like,
Fallout
that's-
4 Game of the Year edition or something?
Yeah, no, I mean it could be something like whatever Bethesda's putting out next year, or like whatever's coming next. Which I guess I don't think they've announced anything. I don't follow them that closely anymore.
We wouldn't
But like,
see
I
it,
think Elder Scrolls 6 would be the next game that they would make.
but we won't
that might
see
be
that.
another year or two off. But I think like
Yeah.
that will be on the Switch.
And we probably won't see anything on that until, based on how they did Fallout 4, 6 months before it comes out at E3.
Yeah. But I as long as the Switch doesn't come out the gate and bomb, I mean, as of right now, that will be on Nintendo system.
Okay.
And frankly, if the system is, hardware-wise at parity with the Xbox One, PS4, then that says a lot of good things about partnerships they can have.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I've heard stuff of third parties, it being really easy to port over from PS4 to Switch.
Nice.
Cool. Which would suggest a potential x86 architecture, but that doesn't sound like exactly what it is.
I mean, I think it's just that the middleware is compatible. I mean,
Sure.
like Unity, Unreal.
Right.
Yeah.
There's an NBA game that looks like that is one of the only things that like we're pretty sure is a mock-up.
Yeah,
'cause
I mean that looked like a mock-up. I wouldn't be surprised if they were like, "Hey, 2K, you want to do this?" And they were like, "Nah, bro."
Here, just run
My
some footage.
favorite-
Here's some footage.
The thing I loved about that is that, like, you can actually play basketball, or you can sit at a table right next to the basketball court and play fake
It's
basketball.
really such a fun, dopey marketing video.
Yeah.
And even when I showed my wife earlier, she made a comment that being like, "You do realize that a girl doesn't show up on this until like 2.5 minutes in, right?" it's like 4 groups of dudes, and then the girls show up at the end.
And the girls
Yeah,
are sitting around playing Mario while all their friends
Well,
watch.
Not just that, but there's also the perfectly diverse esports team.
Like it's just oh
No
man, like,
Splatoon esports team looks like that.
that's why I think this like down to it being so corny, like this
Yeah.
video is so much fun, and like the
And-
stupid song that plays in it. Like,
Yeah, the
oh,
indie
so
rock song.
good.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I think the fact that they actually had an NBA game there, the MPD, like we got the MPD report today, and the top 4 best-selling games of September were NBA, Madden, FIFA, and NHL 17.
Oh, jeez.
So sports are kind of a big deal, and the fact that Nintendo is highlighting that, those games I think are actually going to come back to Nintendo consoles, and I for one am glad because it means there's something on there that will sell consistently.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be too sure that they're all gonna come back.
As long as I can play NHL 17 or NHL 18 on this thing,
Dude, are
I'll be
you
good.
nuts? Like that's the last fucking sports game that would come to the Nintendo console.
It's going to be FIFA.
Like when was the last time that when an EA NHL game, what NHL Slapshot before that, like the GameCube?
Yeah, because I think 2K
Like
had
we're looking at we're looking at over a decade of EA NHL games not coming to Nintendo platforms or like mainline Sims, because NHL Slapshot was actually pretty cool and that came out on Wii. But like, I mean, I as someone who really would love to play Madden on that controller, until it's announced, I won't believe it, because I think that that's a tremendous uphill battle to convince any sports developer that it's worth making a version for Nintendo systems, when you've seen over the years that all of those major sports publishers have done a lot more on focusing on mobile and like the core platforms. Like there used to be, Madden versions coming out on everything. Now it's either legacy, it's either bad legacy versions of games, or it's only on PS4 and Xbox One.
Yeah.
Like they've trimmed down over the years. There's a reason why the Wii U version stopped happening. It was partially because the Wii U was a failure. It was also because the industry got tougher and they had to focus on what was the moneymaker.
In the interest of time, because I don't want to spend 10 minutes on each of these games that we saw 5 seconds of footage of, I will.
I think we should.
Oh, Oh.
Then let's go to Mario. Let's just talk about Mario because
I just want to mention them all at the same time, and then we can just have one big conversation. Just Mario. There's a new 3D Mario game that looks funky as hell, and he like goes to Mexico or some shit. You got this esports Splatoon re-release sequel where they have different.
I want to talk about the fucking Mario game.
Each one.
I want to talk about the fucking Mario game. There's a new 3D Mario, but EAD Tokyo. Like,
it looks cool because it's in Mexico.
And
all the gameplay is him running away from the camera. It almost looks like a Sonic game.
Jared Rosenberg put up on this here YouTube channel a delightfully like rambly, kind of bad audio video of him like just spitballing ideas of these 5 seconds of Mario footage.
2 scenes in 5 seconds.
Yeah. I mean, I think 5 total seconds is what it was. But after listening to that, I started putting my own ideas together. And like, if this game is just like Mario Sunshine, but you're in the Wild West instead of an island, this game of the year 2017. Like,
my question is,
that's kind of from what we saw, that's what it looks like. It looks like that could be a hub town. That could be like Isle Delfino.
My idea was, and I just thought of this like an hour and a half ago, but what if they literally made Mario Breath of the Wild, where it was Mario Sunshine, Mario Galaxy, Mario 64, but instead of it being closed off worlds, it's one seamless open platformer world.
So like one giant Banjo-Kazooie.
Because that's a new way to play Mario that we haven't played before.
I'm predicting the future on the Sunday or the Friday before Black Friday. 2 games will come out. Red Dead Redemption 2 and Mario Dead Redemption 2.
Jesus.
Like this will be like Mario's like I don't want to spoil the end of Red Dead Redemption for anyone that hasn't played it, but just pretend that Mario's John Marsden.
Yo, that trailer was sick today. Did you see that part of the trailer when like the whole gang riding off together and it's like it's Grand Theft Auto 5 but with horses? They're gonna pull
Someone
Mad
cut that
Heist
trailer to Pony.
I saw that.
Anyway, no, the Mario game, like I want to see more of it. There's apparently multiplayer. That's kind of like there are a lot of little things kind of nestled into this.
Yeah, it was multiplayer, but they didn't show how it was multiplayer.
Yeah, just that there were 2 people playing at once, which the mind goes wild. Could it be a 3D Mario game where like you're playing as Mario and Luigi at the same time?
Ooh,
that'd be interesting. That would that would be a switch on conventional mechanics.
It's gonna be the next 5 years.
And then so the Mario Kart and Splatoon were a similar deal, where there wasn't much revealed about what this game is. Whether it's a re-release of Mario Kart 8 and Splatoon, or they're both sequels. I bet Mario Kart is a sequel. I bet Splatoon is a re-release.
King Boo has only been in Mario Kart Wii, I believe.
Right. It showed King Boo and it showed double items in Mario Kart, and then Splatoon showed new hairstyles.
I think that both of those are going to be like remake ports.
Yeah.
Like,
you think this is Mario Kart 8?
I wouldn't be surprised if it's just like Mario Kart 8.5. Like if they just literally call it that.
Well, it seemed to be a new course as well, and there was the issue that
it was the Yoshi course.
Yeah, no. Like they showed a course that's in Mario Kart 8.
Yeah.
Okay, but they also had 2 items active at once.
Yeah, that's why it's going to be like a porty remake. Like
it'll be double dashy.
Okay, I'm just gonna throw this out there. That Mario Kart game, probably in the box when you get the Switch.
I mean, that'd be very smart.
Get out of here.
There's a part of me that thinks that. I mean, there's all that talk, and I mean, kind of what Nintendo obviously need to do is have games out there right away. I wouldn't be surprised if they kind of had these. They probably had like specs and like plans for doing like Mario Kart 9 and Splatoon 2, and we're like, these games aren't going to get out there until like 2018. So they probably were like, okay, let's lessen the scope. We're going to add new things to both games. We're going to try to make it worth its while, but also like no one bought a Wii U, so like the people that are going to get the Switch that didn't have a Wii U are going to have like Mario Kart 8.5 and Splatoon 1.5 are going to be like brand new things. And for people like us who already bought it, like I didn't like Mario Kart 8 that much, and I'd still buy Mario Kart 8.5.
Because Mario Kart 8 is the one that sold like
I'm in.
Mario Kart 8's already sold 7 million copies anyway on a system that failed. So imagine what it could do with this thing.
Yeah.
And then if you remember Splatoon, remember when they patched in, or they didn't patch in, but they had the data for playable Octolings, but then they never did anything with it? I wonder if a lot of that was intended for Splatoon on Wii U, but it was just carried over as instead.
Yeah, no, that makes sense, because it seems like this. I mean, it looked like there was a new map that they showed off. I mean, they had the hairstyles and stuff, like adding more swag to this game, which is, I mean, you can always use more swag. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if it's kind of the same setup as Splatoon. Although the thing that would break my heart is that I think if they were to do this, there wouldn't be more single player. Which, like, that was kind of, I mean, I don't get me wrong, I love the multiplayer in Splatoon. I think it's incredible, but that single player was way better.
Yes.
Than it really had any right being.
Maybe we'll get I think Barubi has been saying this since we found out about the NX. We'll get like Smash Brothers Game of the Year edition with all the DLC, but then they'll also finally announce the last 3 amiibo. Maybe there'll be a giant bundle with all those amiibo.
Like there have been rumors about that very thing, not the amiibo, but just that that Bandai Namco is working on a Smash port.
I think we heard about that like this time last year. That Bandai Namco had stuff in development, and one of the things that they were working on was Smash Brothers.
Super Smash Brothers for Switch? Is that what the title would be?
Super Smash Brothers.
Oh, yeah. No, for Nintendo Switch.
For Nintendo Switch. Yeah. That would look weird on a box. I bet it's going to be red cases. That's my guess this time around.
That'd be fun. And then be cartridges, man. They might not be full DVD style cases. They could look like 3DS cases.
Or Vita cases.
They should really. I think ideally for the Switch cases, I think they should do like almost like the Japanese GameCube size, like something that's like an intermediary between full-size DVD cases and the smaller 3DS ones. I think
like what the Game Boy Player disc came in.
Yeah, something like that.
Be cool.
Those are real
games, right?
Yeah, those were real games. Like, we agree. And everything but the NBA and maybe the Skyrim we'll see, but like everything else was a real ass video game.
Skyrim's a real game.
I know, but I mean, anything not on the Switch does not count as a real video game.
But like, I mean, the thing with Skyrim is that like, if that came out at launch, that's the same issue as Mass Effect 3.
Yeah.
Like, that's the same issue as Arkham City. Like, it's a game that literally everyone else will have had the chance to play but the remastered form for a couple months. And the game came out when Skyward Sword did. Like,
yeah, it's actually a worse PR move than that game not being in the lineup at all.
Yeah.
So,
but,
what
I
do
mean,
they do?
I think Bethesda being on board for the Switch is huge. But it's like a weird way to do it.
Yeah.
But if they haven't, like, have they announced a Fallout 4 Game of the Year? Because that's the only other thing I could think of that they'd want to have on the system at launch, theoretically. And maybe
they're holding it for the NX. I mean,
yeah. I mean, maybe we'll find out about that in January.
Yeah.
Fingers crossed.
Yeah.
Because.
Man, I'm gonna hold on 1 second. Keep talking. I'm gonna grab something.
And all your amiibo will unlock different clothing options for your Fallout dude.
And if you put Chibi Robo on there, replaces I took an arrow to the knee guy with a robot.
Speaking of developers, they made a case for more developers on the Wii U this time around.
Okay, but wait. They make a case for third parties at every launch.
There's more this time. I don't know if it means anything, but there are more this time.
They have doubled the number of developers and publishers on the system compared to the Wii U. The window they showed at E3 2012, double that. That's the Switch launch partners.
Here are some interesting ones. Yeah.
Look at a lot of those 3DS and Wii U ones, and most of those companies didn't actually put out games for those systems. By the way, here's like the size case that I was talking about.
Yeah.
Hold on, let me see. Yeah.
Yeah, you could put
And like there's a regular GameCube case, and that's like
Right.
yeah, you could
What
put
game is that in there?
which
this is
one?
Tony Hawk. This is the Game Boy Player cases that
Oh,
I
okay,
have. I was
okay.
looking. I have Japanese GameCube games, but I think they're in a box somewhere. They're not out.
Nice.
Yeah,
Okay, so here are some of the interesting publishers / developers. 505 Games, Activision, Atlas, Bandai Namco, not that interesting. Bethesda, more interesting. Capcom is cool. You got your Codemasters for racing games. DNA not confirmed to bring mobile stuff over, and I
That's
think
mine
they got included there.
they're included there for my Nintendo.
Okay.
They explicitly said that after the reveal.
There's going to be a Monster Hunter game on the Switch.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, but I think it's also on PS4.
No, is that the one that Capcom said would sell 2 million this year?
That was
Because
Dead
maybe.
Rising. Or I think that was Dead Rising.
No, there was talk of a Monster Hunter game. Like, yeah, because there was that weird, like, the slowly being filled in the Capcom financial report for the start of the fiscal year.
Mm.
they said they had
a Monster Hunter game that was going to sell 2 million.
which,
But
if
like,
that's,
I mean, that's about those games, and this is probably I probably should have mentioned when we were talking about the games. I heard. I mean, I think it's also very obvious. There was a lot that was left on the table regarding the games in this. Like why we had the delay from the September reveal to now. From what I heard, that was because like they were still working on the reveal video for Mario Switch, and
Really?
if they were waiting for 5 seconds of footage, like that seems like really, guys, like you couldn't have patched that up and made it look acceptable in the reveal video, like.
Right.
I think that at some point, probably in focusing the message down to this focused 3.5 minute video, they took out some of what was going to be like in the bigger reveal. Like there's a lot more of that Mario game that we haven't seen. I heard that from that footage that it's more of an exploratory game as opposed to a 3D world, which for me it is very exciting. And that's where I also heard mention that like there might also be a Monster Hunter game. That might like be in the first year or something like that.
so like
So they just took out more footage of games.
Yeah.
To condense.
So this could have been a 7-minute video instead of 3, and they could have.
I mean,
had
it
more
probably
like
could have been a Nintendo Direct.
Sizzle reel.
But I think that this is probably the better way to do it because guess who only watches Nintendo Directs? The same people who bought Wii U's. Whereas this 3.5 minute video has the potential to be shared. And
It's
already got like 7,700.
Yeah, I'll be curious in like a week or two, comparing how many views this got compared to like directs in recent memory.
The video is already over 4 million in North America.
Yeah,
because it's 3.5 minutes long.
Yep, and I mean that's why it was 3.5 minutes long.
Yeah, I watched it this morning while I took pills.
That's why there wasn't a stage event. That's why there wasn't like a 40-minute direct here.
Yeah.
Like they kind of got us already. Like they have our ear. They're trying to get other ears.
Right. They got EA. They got Epic Games, which I think is more middleware. The reason why they're including that. They got From Software, which is the craziest one on that whole list because they're working on a lot of new games, including some weird ones, and I don't think it's going to be a Souls port.
I was just about to ask, do they do anything except Souls games?
Yes, well, they were only doing Souls games for the most part, but like Dark Souls 3 was the conclusion, at least for now, of those games, and they're working on new not Ace Combat, they're Armored Core. They're working on like 2 new IPs, and I think they're working on one other thing, which I'm guessing is Bloodborne 2. But they got those 4 things that I think are going on right now. So it's one of those that's not Bloodborne can obviously make it. Frozen Byte, you got Grasshopper, who we haven't seen in a while.
Heroes 3.
I asked Pseudo51 that personally at PAX East this year, and he was like, maybe in the next 20 years. And Gung Ho, so maybe more Puzzle and Dragons. You got Hamster, who makes a lot of arcade games. You got Havoc from middleware.
Hamster. So glad Hamster's on board.
Koei Tecmo, surprisingly.
No.
Konami, so Metal Gear Survive is going to be great next year.
No, you mean Winning
No,
11.
it's not.
Winning
Pro,
11.
Pro Evolution and
Pro
the
Evolution.
and their Power Pros series.
Just skipping right past Dead or Alive 6, I see.
For Koei
Yeah.
Tecmo, because mostly what we're going to get out of them, I bet, is Muso and Attack on Titan.
Oh, shit.
And probably
Level
Attack on-
5. Level 5, this will probably be the new Yokai Watch platform, if there is a new Yokai Watch platform.
And Fantasy Life 2.
No, that's a
Fantasy
mobile
Life
game.
2.
That's a mobile game.
Oh, that
But-
hurts.
That new series of Inazuma 11, though, that they announced at the Level 5 Vision thing a few months back, that could be NX bound or Switch bound.
Absolutely. Maximum Games. So okay. Nippon Ichi Platinum is coming back, which is really weird. I'm just kidding. Sega. You got Spike Chunsoft, which means maybe Danganronpa can come by and say hi. You got your Square Enix, so maybe Final Fantasy 15. That seems like something they put out around the time they put out whatever PC release.
One of the 6 confirmed Switch games is Dragon Quest 11. Don't forget.
Oh yeah. You got Take-Two.
Platinum makes me think that maybe we'll see Bayonetta 3.
Maybe.
We could.
Take-Two, Telltale, but the other TT Traveler's Tale, THQ Nordic, aka Nordic. You got Ubisoft, weird. Unity, weird. Warner Bros. And then last but certainly not least, Web Technology Corp.
Oh, of course.
Well, Ubisoft's not weird because they show up at launch for everything.
Yeah.
No, I know. I'm kidding, obviously.
I'm glad
And Unity.
I'm glad Tokyo RPG Factories is going up.
Oh, yeah.
Port I am Setsu.
Yeah, and Unity means we've got people like people like Imogen Form, who are the Steam World developers, Devolver Digital, and shoot, who was the third one that got announced earlier?
I thought Imogen Form tweeted out today that they're basically already making a game, and we'll see more of it next year.
Yeah, they did. So it's Imogen
that
Form.
happened more recently, as far as I know.
Yeah, and a friend of the show, Seren McNulty, will be bringing Monochrono to the Switch. He announced today.
Yep.
And I think, and we've got some feelers out about 13 AM games. I don't think we've gotten anything back, but they said they do have a good relationship with Nintendo.
Yep.
So, and my personal favorite, Z-Boyd Games, has reapplied for a Nintendo developer's license because Unity is on there. So
That's
that
awesome.
could mean Cosmic Star Heroine could be coming to the Switch.
I don't know what that is.
That is the
When is that game
Kickstarter
coming
RPG.
out?
Soon, hopefully. I don't. At this point, I think
feel like that's been the story for a year and a half.
it's going to be racing Persona
Anyway.
5. Let's put it that way.
Yeah.
You know what developer's not on this list? Way Forward.
Oh, what a shame.
I would not read into what like indie developers are and aren't on this list.
Okay.
Yeah, that list was largely focused on the big ones right now, on the big AAA quote unquote publishers. Like
Yes, like Imogen Form.
well, we like
Lists.
Oh,
that
was
wasn't
it?
on the Nintendo list
Oh.
that they sent out. That was that. I think I had put that on the list afterwards. But
Okay.
but yeah, like Way Forward's not on there. Yacht Club Games is not on there, but they've talked about they're looking forward to the Switch. So
Yeah, like I mean,
presumably-
yeah, that's the thing. I would not read into what indies aren't on that list. Actually, I wouldn't really read into what if there are
Is on
companies,
the list.
like if there are companies that have a previous relationship with Nintendo that haven't been outspoken about not having any idea what the Switch is, then they're probably on board. Like
Yeah, I think-
unfortunately, a TUI, like Renegade Kids spin-offs. Like I don't think they are currently on board for the Switch. But like I think if it's an indie developer that you like and they've been quiet about things, that they're probably making something for the Switch.
and I think
Seems like Jules wants to make something for the Switch.
yeah.
Yeah.
But I think the biggest name that I'm kind of surprised is missing is Microsoft for Minecraft, and the one I'm glad is missing is Idea Factory International.
Yeah, I'm sure
Minecraft
you're
will
happy
be there.
about that.
They will put Microsoft anyways. I think Microsoft would make it that they put Mojang. If there was a deal that would be brokered for this.
Or 4J Games, which I think is the developer.
Oh
who
yeah.
does
Oh,
Minecraft
yeah.
ports.
That's all the actual news, but I have a question I want to end us on that I will go around to each. Actually, no, this can just be an open discussion. But I just have one more question that I think would be a decent way to end this. Will there be another Nintendo handheld with this new generation?
Yes.
Yes.
I agree. I agree with Neal. I think there absolutely is. I don't think this is a replacement for the 3DS, and I don't think they're going after the market that 3DS is going after. I think that the Switch is trying to go after everyone, but I also think that the Switch doesn't hit that child-friendly audience in the way a new DS would.
Well, certainly one of the things that was noticed a lot about the Switch preview today, no kids.
Yeah,
all adults.
No,
all basically millennials of our age.
Same as Wii U.
Let's once again, let's put on our marketing hats. Who was that video for?
Us. Literally the four
It was
people talking about
everybody.
this right now.
And
18
it
to
was also
24.
for like us to talk to people and spread it, but like that's not a video that they're gonna like put on the Play Nintendo channel and be like, kids, look at the new system you're gonna ask for in March. Like, no, like that's not the market that they're going after. I mean, it's not necessarily their demographic
But
that's
I
on
thought
display
the
there, but like
whole point
that's their aspiration.
of making this hybrid system was to essentially double their output, and they wouldn't have to have a second team making handheld games.
That's this is my take on it. Much like a lot of other people's takes on it has been, oh, I guess the Switch will be Nintendo's only system going forward, and they're only going to make games for this one system, and I guess mobile games from now on until we all die.
Yeah.
That's what a lot of people have taken and assumed from that. I saw a lot of those comments that came from Iwata and Kimishima and everybody involved of like, you know, the NX being the start of like a
hardware family.
Like a hardware family. Like, I think whatever this 3DS successor is will probably play in with the Switch to some degree. It might even, maybe it'll even be like branded in a similar way. Like, I think that there will be a future handheld that will be somewhat distinct from the Switch, but I wouldn't be surprised if it's a little more companion to the Switch than successor to the 3DS, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Like I think it's all going to be in the same. It's going to be more in the same family. Than, I mean, right now, look at the Wii and the 3DS. Like, they're separate. There's some cross-buy efforts, but they are completely distinct and different systems.
Right.
I think that a future handheld would blur that line between Switch and handheld.
I have no idea who the Switch is for. That's the other thing. I was like the more I look at this and the more I read into it, I have no idea who this system is for other than us.
I think they're trying. I think what this is going to end up being is going to be a lot of people's second system because of the stuff. A lot of the stuff that you're going to get that's unique on here that maybe doesn't show up on PS4, Xbox One, PC. But it's also meant to be like the competition console in Japan, where nobody developing Japanese games wants to touch the Xbox One with a 10-foot pole, given how bad it sells. Like, the Switch will outsell the Xbox One's life to date probably 3-1 on its launch week.
Yes.
I have a mild devil's advocate question. Who's the PS4 and the Xbox One for? And why would that be different from the Switch? Like why
people who play Rockstar games?
Yeah.
Which I guess there are a lot of those
people who play EA games and Rockstar games.
The PlayStation 4 and Xbox has the exact same marketing focus that the PS3 did, that the PS2 did, and so on, which is the mass market adult video game console consumer. I don't think the Switch is the exact same situation. It's different, but I don't know if it's in a good way or a bad way yet.
Well, this commercial certainly tries to go after that same audience.
And I think that there is a pretty good. I mean, this is going to get into a lot more like speculative and like stuff that we just straight up don't know right now because all we've seen is this 3-minute opening shot. But like I think that there is a section a section of the market that, like, the idea of having like the off TV play, like, that's very appealing, and this plays into that more.
Okay.
Definitely.
Or it's the lapsed gamer. Like, that's more of what they're going after. They're not necessarily it's the same thing that they did with the Wii U. It's kind of the same thing that they did with the Wii. They want to pick up the people that, like, are in their 30s or 40s now and have kids and played NES when they were a kid and were like, oh yeah, I should get the new Nintendo system. Or, by that same token, probably what this video was aspiring to show was people in their 20s, like single people in their 20s who played games when they were a kid and want to dive back in. Except for, unfortunately, those people probably played PlayStation when they were kids.
Yeah, and they actually had the Pokemon Company released what looks like similar to the Super Bowl commercial for Pokemon Sun and Moon today, which basically says "You evolved, so did we."
Yeah.
So I think
That was
that's
a good
sort of
commercial.
a company-wide mandate. Yeah, and that commercial was really good.
No, I mean that's like New Super Mario Brothers Wii, like, exuded that in a nutshell. Like, seeing the fervor around that game and kind of the pinnacle of the Wii back in 2009. Like, it really did
And that
show
thing
off,
sold
like,
30 million copies.
Yeah. Like, I mean, that was very successful, and I think a lot of that was because they hit that market.
Right.
And in all honesty, hearing that the reason why the PS4 and the Xbox One survive are because of, like, fucking 4 different games is really disheartening, and I think
But
it's back
true.
to that whole,
Look
like,
at it.
I mean, it is. No, I'm not saying it's not, but it's just like having that spelled out, because when I asked that question, it was more like, why is this so different? And that is kind of the answer, and it makes me worry for the health of the industry. If it's just like, well, if Call of Duty fails, then so does half of the industry. Like,
Call of Duty, FIFA, Madden in North America at least, and
GTA.
Honestly, GTA.
Grand Theft Auto is a titan, though. I think Grand Theft Auto is holding up the entire console gaming industry up on its own.
Yeah, but I mean, like, it's and I'm kind of surprised that we don't see, like, Sony and Microsoft. I guess maybe that's what they're doing with all this, like, weird, like, we're going to try to make money by selling you 8 different consoles. Like, that's probably why they're doing stuff like that, because they recognize that, oh, like, if one of these things slips and falls, we're screwed.
Well, also,
like, look at Assassin's Creed. Like, that stumbled.
You don't have the exclusives like you used to.
Yeah, now you get the
everything's
timed
on Steam
exclusives, and you get the timed exclusives and your DLC things. Like Sony announced the deal today, like they're getting stuff for Red Dead Redemption 2 early.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Yeah, but that sounds like a show. That sounds like an hour pulled out of 3 minutes, as we are to do on Nintendo News Report. Although this time it does feel more warranted than most cases, because it was like there were a lot of small bits that could be expanded in the way we did. But Nintendo is a new console. It is an exciting time to be a video game fan. I'm excited. I'm going to pre-order it the second I get the opportunity. I just hope lots of other people pre-order it too. And I hope it's good enough that it justifies other people pre-ordering it. There's a lot of hopes that I hope Nintendo will at least succeed on most of them. That's our show.
Come on, Nep Nep.
No.
Nep. Nintendo News Report. Thank you so much to everyone for listening and watching. You can also support us, patreon.com/NWR. Keep the site going. Keep it alive. Keep great shows going like this one. Now, you can find Neal on Twitter at Enron10, NRON, the number 10.
Go Pack Go.
You can find Donald. Yeah. Go Pack Go.
20 to 10. It's 20 to 10.
Go. Sure. Donald Terrio, that's Donald Mick, DONALDMICK, also at NFR Podcast, Nintendo Free Radio. Zachary Miller at ZMiller1902, ZMILLER1902. I am Kulafia at CULAFIA. That's our show. See you next week.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.